Why choose to become a teacher? I would say my decision lies in the person I've become, this mind and heart that have been uniquely molded by the numerous educators who've touched my life. I've decided to become a teacher because I'm the sum of two very important factors. I understand the value of a virtuous education, and I love to be a positive influence in the lives of others. When I think back upon the people who have crafted me into the person I am, the positive influences, the negative ones, the humorous, the serious, the completely out to lunch, and I realize the power that their choices and their decisions have had upon the course of my life and the formation of my personality, I find myself wondering, wishing, what if that were me? I'm a one-of-a-kind mixture of so many different traits and interests and experiences, a unique character, and it fascinates me to imagine all the many lives that could look back one day and think, Mr. Meyer is the reason I want to be a teacher, an artist, a director, a carpenter, a business owner. Mr. Meyer is one of the people that has helped me to become the good person that I am. I want my students to one day be able to value their lives the way I value my own, and I believe that the most direct way to be this influence is through education. To help young people realize who they are and learn to meet their full potential. Push themselves to create and construct. Imagine. It was in Newton High School that I first began to envision myself at the head of a classroom. Until then, teaching had seemed like it would be a lot of fun, but as I progressed from freshman to sophomore year and on, I started to respect and or critique my teachers. Probably for a number of reasons, all converging on this transition into high school. First reason being, high school truly marks a point at which people are forced to mature very quickly. I can recall my views and opinions on life becoming much more introspective, and I began to question the meaning of things, and not just accept them. In lieu of teaching, this meant beginning to look deeply into what it means to be a teacher. How do these people affect my life? This shift of viewpoint quickly began to converge with another crucial factor, teaching experiences of my own. In middle school, I had always found myself to be quiet and reserved when it came to working in groups, but I was also very serious and studied hard, and usually found myself to be in control of the group because they looked to me for guidance. This respect that I was flattered to receive in middle school, I started to perceive as a responsibility as I transitioned into high school. I greatly enjoyed leading the group due to my confidence in subject matter, and enjoyed leading my group to work as a team. For the many times that I was not the group leader, I enjoyed paying attention to the manner by which whoever was in charge led the group. At the same time that I marched my way through high school, I was also progressing through the ranks in Boy Scouts. As a scout in Troop 85 of Andover, I remember many a night spent with my peers, learning crucial lessons about life, myself, friendship, and being part of a team. The amazing thing about Boy Scouts is the dedication of parent leaders influences young people to teach each other. My greatest role models, my dad, my scout leaders, Mr. Gertis, Mr. Shear, were the men that sacrificed their time to teach us the value of educating one another and helping each other. I learned more about how to teach in Boy Scouts than I have in all my college classes combined. College may teach you how to execute a proper lesson or control a classroom, but in Boy Scouts I learned to truly listen and to have respect. I learned to be responsible and organized, care and share a piece of myself and the skills I was teaching others. As I worked my way to the rank of Eagle Scout, I taught more and more, and this further fueled my existing feeling of responsibility to those who looked up to me. And it's this feeling that I grew to love more and more. Another extracurricular high school influence upon my progression toward the teaching profession was being involved with Sunday school catechism classes. During my freshman and sophomore years, I spent every Sunday morning at Our Lady of the Lake Church revisiting my old third grade Sunday school classroom. There, with Mr. Schwark, my old teacher, I learned to give back the service to 20 mirror images of my third grade self. From Mr. Schwark, I learned the virtue of selflessness as we volunteered our time to instill faith and reverence in a room of wonderful children. Here I learned to be observant, to immerse myself in the different personalities and beautiful intricacies of these young minds. I saw myself as a role model, as I did in my scout troop and occasionally at school as well. Through these different experiences, my interest in teaching continued to mount, but I still did not consider it a possible profession. While at Newton High, my main goal was to further my artistic skill and pursue my dream of becoming a professional artist. This proved to be a serious struggle, and it is only through my desire to overcome the odds that I continued to follow this dream into college. Newton was a school where the visual arts garnered little to no respect. I quickly learned the value of a good education in art because I desperately desired it. But after middle school, it never returned until many years later at Ramapo. Newton's art teachers taught me what not to be as a teacher. Through their shortcomings, I learned to be fresh, to be engaging, to form a connection with your students. They also taught me one more thing, although much more indirectly. They taught me that I could be the change if I wanted to. As I moved on into a similar situation at Sussex County Community College, I found myself beginning to consider teaching as a profession. It would constantly press at the back of my thoughts for years to come as I continued to pursue my art studies, and every time a professor failed my expectations, I found myself wanting to be the change more and more. A ray of hope during this time was Professor Coelho. He taught me that a teacher should understand their students. He was the first art teacher I'd ever had that taught because he just plain loved art, and he loved people, and bringing these two things together completed who he was. His classes are what kept me going as I moved on to Ramapo and continued to think all the time about it. As I moved on into a similar situation at Sussex County Community College. At County College, I found myself beginning to consider teaching as a profession. It would constantly press at the back of my thoughts for years to come as I continued to pursue my art studies, and every time a professor failed my expectations, I found myself wanting to be the change more and more. A ray of hope during this time was Professor Coelho. He taught me that teachers should understand their students. He was the art teacher. A ray of hope during this time was Professor Coelho. He taught me that a teacher should understand their students. He was the first art teacher I'd ever had that taught just because he plain loved art and he loved people. And bringing these two things together completed who he was. His classes are what kept me going as I moved into Ramapo and continued to think all the time, what if? What if I were in that position? At Ramapo, I finally began to realize that a career as an artist might not lead me to feel fulfilled. There was also a serious issue of career stability, but what truly led me to continue on the path of teaching ed was that I felt wrong about abandoning my sense of responsibility and the dreams I had of becoming the next Mr. Gertis, Mr. Schwark, Mr. Coelho. Leave it to love that it was my own girlfriend who finally put things into perspective. I met her right as I had entered the teaching program, and as fate would have it, she was an art teacher. Erin opened my eyes to the reality of being a teacher, and watching her love and devotion and pride has made me want that career more than ever. We are one and the same, and I know that I'm destined to be a positive influence on my students' lives the way she is in hers. Assisting her at McCune Elementary School makes me feel each day that I'm right at the doorstep to the life that I want and the career that I will love. I cannot wait to be a teacher, and thank you so much to all those who have made me feel that way.